All right, we got UT Martin head coach Jason Simpson. Coach, we're getting ready to start this fall 2021 season. So just give us some general thoughts, and then we'll get into questions that anybody has.
Sure. A lot of starters back, just like most of the teams in the league with the carryover of the seniors. I would tell you on paper, we probably got nine on offense, 9 on defense. We have added some guys out of the portal. We'll see. They've only been here a week, but I'm sure some of those guys will help us going forward. Yabi Anoma sat out this past year, so he'll be playing this year for us. Transferred from Alabama, an outside linebacker that gives us some length and some athleticism we certainly haven't had. So excited to see him play. We'll have a new quarterback right now. Keon Howard and Dresser Wynn are getting most of the reps with that first group. So certainly excited about that. Keon's a transfer from Tulane, and very excited about him. And Dresser's played a lot of football here in the OVC, so he's coming off of an ankle injury throughout I guess he had middle of the season, so not back to full strength yet, but hopefully in about a month that he will be. Got a quality specialist back, our long snapper, and Tyler Larco. That made, I guess, freshman, first or second team All-American, so we're so excited about that. So we've got a quality team, but everybody else's talent level is high because of the retention of eligibility. So I think it'll be a very quality league this year.
Thank you, Coach. I already see a few, but if anybody has questions for Coach Simpson, just let me know down in the chat, and then I will call on you the same when we have our student athlete later. But we'll start first with Adam Wells. So go ahead, Adam.
Hey, man.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, bud.
My first question for you is, you talked about the 9 players on offense and 9 on defense coming back. How much does that might change maybe your approach to getting ready for a season compared to other years when you're having to replace a lot of starters, and especially coming off of a season you just had a couple of months ago?
Yeah, and I've tried to think through this a lot. We finished April 13th, I think was our last game, so we took off the rest of April, the rest of May. Some of these guys like Colton and Rodney, I couldn't keep out of here in June, so they were back ready to go. But the rest of the 60% of the team didn't get back till July 11th, and I thought we need that mental and physical break before we got ready to go. So that first and foremost, that's one thing I felt like we had to do. Second of all, you still start over with your installs, especially having Keon having a new quarterback. You got to start over from scratch from him. Even though he's played a lot of football, he still has to learn our verbiage, and we have to see what he can do. And so we're still filling some of those things out. That's my first thoughts with it going forward. But I think the main thing for us, we've always got good skill. The running backs are back, the receivers are back, and we've added some guys to it. But, the offensive line, this is the first time in several years that we have an experienced offensive line. And we were kind of, in the last couple of years, kind of decimated with some injuries and had to just kind of fight through it. But if that group, with all the experience that they have, if they play improve their level of play, then we'll have a good football team.
The fact that you guys have had somewhat of a summer with these guys compared to last year, how much of a difference is that going to make heading into this fall, knowing that there's not been a massive gap between say like I had last year?
Yeah, the first thing that I see, and I would assume it's at other places. Normally, right? You have 8 to 10 weeks in the spring of off-season workouts, and then you have 8 weeks in the summer. So you get at least 16 weeks of weight room development, and bodies start changing, especially your young players. And so, playing a season in the spring, taking, those 8 or so weeks off before a lot of our young players got back, they've missed that, so I think it's still another year before you get back to a normal development. For 16 years, yeah, we've had good players, but, we developed those players. We've had some transfers, some junior college players, but our freshmen, like Colton, like Rodney Williams, those guys have come in here and developed himself into all OVC players. So that's something we're going to have to work through, is that we didn't have that long a time in the weight room. So some of our bodies didn't get the same amount of growth that they would normally get another year. And another thing I'm seeing is even with the guys that are coming out of the portal, a lot of these guys left their programs, during the season, during their fall season. These guys that are FBS guys left it during the fall season or left it at Christmas. And so they're separated from their team. So they might be lifting a little bit, but they've lost some strength, they've lost weight, they've lost muscle tone and stuff. So there is some that's a little different. And I'm sure it's not just here at UT Martin, it's probably all over the league of some of those guys that when they drop down, they haven't been with the program for several months.
You spoke about how you have, the wide receivers, your tight end, and an experienced offensive line coming back, but still kind of the question mark about the quarterback position, whether it's Dresser or the transfer. How much easier is that going to make on them, those quarterbacks, trying to battle it out with an experienced team around them and kind of let them do their thing without trying to break in new receivers and new offensive line?
No, you're 100% right. I mean, when you've got Rodney or Colton to throw to, or Donnell, 3 all-conference guys, I mean, just give them the ball. Just be a point guard and get the ball in their hands. And one thing too is that we'll have more versatility, more athleticism at the quarterback spot this year to be able to extend some plays. You can add some quarterback, runs to it, things we haven't done in the last couple of years that can kind of make it a little bit easier on everybody else as well.
My last one for you, Coach, is I know you don't ever pay attention to preseason rankings or anything. You're picked 4th this year. We've always talked about Martin kind of breaking through that into that next top half of the standings in the OVC. Does this team with the experience have what it takes to get up there to the top with Austin Peay, Murray State this year?
Well, I'll correct you from this. All right, over 15 years, we've won I guess now that Jacksonville State's out of the league, we've won the most conference games of any team in this league. All right, so I will give our kids credit for that. But I know what you're saying. We finished second, I don't know 4 times in 16 years and won it once and a bunch of thirds. No, that's my expectations. It's the same expectations, every year. I think every team in our league, of the 7 current teams, we've all probably won it once and maybe twice at the most. But we've certainly been the most consistent. But we certainly want to go on a national, national stage, and these guys deserve that, and that's their mindset. So I'm really looking forward to helping them achieve that opportunity.
Adam, we only do the preseason polls, so coaches will have emails to look at during the summer. So that's why I send those out.
I figured.
Just joke. We'll go next to Van Stokes from the Austin Peay Radio Network.
Coach, you talk about consistency, and it's been my pleasure and my privilege to call all of the games that you've been with against Austin Peay throughout your tenure, and I truly tip my hat to you for the great things that you have done. One of the things I've noticed about your program through the years, it is one of the most physical programs. You play with great physicality. You've talked about your offense. Now talk about the physicality of your defense, if you will.
Yeah, that's and thank you, man. I appreciate that. We kind of have a saying around here that having fanatical effort, playing with skyhawk effort, and I think in the 16 years, I've been the offensive coordinator the whole time, but I guess we've had 4 defensive coordinators. But that's non-negotiable is being physical and chasing the football, and I am proud of that. And we kind of have a blueprint of the kids that we go and recruit. And someone may be undersized, maybe they're not as tall as some of the different teams in the league we play and stuff. But you're right, they're physical and they chase the ball, and I take a lot of pride on that. And I tell them, I said, guys, the best compliment is when we're playing a team, and over the years, the different head coaches that we've played, and they say, man, your guys chase the football. Man, your guys are physical, just like what you were referring to. And I go right in and tell those guys that is a badge of honor. And, we've had good defenses, over our tenure here. And, I will be good on defense again this year. I'm very excited about it.
What excites you the most about your defense? I mean, from whether it's secondary, up front, in the middle, what does it look like?
Well, I think, on paper, I guess we do have 2 all-conference guys coming back in the secondary. It's been the first time in a while where we've had some experienced corners. Last year, Jay Woods was a new corner. transferred from South Alabama, and he made all conference, so proud of that. But that's been the biggest question mark. And I think we've got more depth at the corner spot than we've had in a while. Second year, Chris Polizzi, our defense coordinator last year. So this is his second year. So I'm excited about more comfort, more experience from him and more, comfort from our defensive players but we've still kind of stayed in the same structure that we've been in the last probably 12 years. And so, last year, whether it be, we lost to Murray 14-10, that's good defense. You got to win that game. So there was a couple games we dropped last year that offensively, even though we just didn't play very well, and that falls on me, and we've got to be able to win those games. And I think I was disappointed in that in the spring and these guys, they know that, we were, a 5, even 6-win team in the spring, and we got to get it done.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, man.
If anybody else has questions for Coach Simpson, let me know down in the chat. This for generally, Coach, because you don't know every team, but you mentioned your defense. Last year was more of a defensive league in the spring, which probably was because of several reasons, and the preparation was one. Do you think that's going to continue maybe generally? Do you think that maybe the offense is going to creep in? And you've seen a lot in your 15 years. I know you've seen it both ways.
Yeah.
Just any general thoughts on what do you think that it might be like this year?
No, I agree with you, Kyle. I think that was part of it. And I think this, like when you lose one guy offensively, whether it be, COVID or protocol or whatever, it really significantly is going to affect you. I mean, you can't hide that left guard. You can't hide that right tackle. You can't hide those guys. And so that's, the numbers were way down all across the league last year. And I certainly think that had a lot to do with it. You're right. I remember, there's been some years we were 400 and something yards a game, and we may finish 3rd or 4th in the league in total offense. And this year, 400 would have probably got you, at least 2nd. So it goes in cycles. It usually depends on the quality of quarterbacks in the league, to be quite honest with you. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see where everybody is from a quarterback standpoint. And the better the quarterbacks play, then that's when the numbers go up.
And to follow on, that's a great point. A lot of these quarterbacks who are back, they had that extra year of experience, whether it was only 6 or 7 games or whatever. So you've seen a lot of them last year. Do you anticipate maybe that progression of a Draylon Ellis at Austin Peay or a Preston Rice at Murray and them taking it to another level that you're going to have to prepare for as a defense?
Yeah, no doubt. And I think too, like I said, when you can go and analyze those numbers and see where the turnovers were, how good people were on special teams. That certainly affects your scoring offense, for sure. But, you say last year, if you hold teams under 24 points, you ought to win. Well, no, last year you better hold them under 20. That was kind of the standard throughout the league.
Coach, you recognize as a dean of coaches in the Ohio Valley Conference. You got a brand new coach over at Tennessee State, a lot of excitement over there. And we still have the youngest coach, perhaps in FCS, at Austin Peay. What's it like to be the dean, to have these years of experience and look around the conference at what we're seeing now?
Right. I remember when I was the youngest coach in the league, back in 2006, you would think if you're the youngest, you ought to get a 7-point, bonus start the game. And if you're the oldest, right, you should get a 7-point head start to start the game. During the season when it gets going, you don't even think about it. But there is, I remember back in 2006, really, it took me several years to figure out how to run a program. We put a quality team on the field and won 9 games that year and finished ranked number 12 in the country. But, we didn't have a program in place. And so that's something that I had to learn along the way but when you've been doing it 16 years, you know what problems you're going to face on a daily basis. When you come to on the office on, July 17th, you've already experienced it before. So there is some merit to being in a place and knowing what you're dealing with, whether it be good or bad. You know what your day consists of. I still, running the offense and being around these players and still drawing up X's and O's, that keeps you fresh. And, still as a head coach, it's a lot harder being the coordinator on Saturday than it is being the head coach, in my opinion. And I've never been a head coach, just sit over there and decided whether or not to, go for it on fourth down. I've always called the plays. So that's still a challenge. I still enjoy it, and it keeps me, interactive with the kids. And I won't say it keeps me young. You see my gray in my hair, but I still enjoy it.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, man.
Anybody else have a question for Coach Simpson? We got time for one more if somebody does. All right, Coach, we appreciate your time and best of luck to your team this year.
Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate y'all.